Hello everybody, my name is Ghaith Al-Safi and I'll be presenting my ecological issue grand question, which is biophilic degradation. So in here I'll be introducing and selecting as well as documenting the existing site while analyzing the site and intervening with three different paths of interventions, as well as analyzing the interventions. The site selection right here that I've selected is Southfield, Michigan, as a focus area because it has the Rouge River and Lawrence Neck as an interest points. I am pretty concerned about the rivers and the people's health. And so one time I was walking by 10 miles sidewalk road into school, and then I saw the sign says Rouge River, ours to protect, and I always wondered, are we really protecting it, or in this question, are we really affecting it? And so I gave the site a visit and documented pretty much the river. From right here, you guys can see what I've picked up and identified as core issues. So biodiversity has been suffering because the rivers have been contaminated by waste, and the river as well has been unstable, so really no life form can be sustained, or it cannot even be used as an outdoor recreational area. And so I noticed that there are a few retention ponds. I believe they're man-made, and some of them are just due to the excess stormwater runoff. And so what I was really interested in is how the river is a huge part of the biophilic degradation of these 5 factors, whether it's biodiversity or the water itself as a source or a recreational area. The river, if maintained or in a way proposed as a new asset, can provide many opportunities and assets. And so I went to the site again, and I noticed that there's issue with maintaining and keeping it clear of broken trees and waste, and as well as there's the issue of increasing current. So some is man-made, some is nature's doing. And so overall, the river is pretty much a hidden asset in Southfield, and not really a lot of passerbys can identify the river. As a matter of fact, not a lot of students know that there's a river right next to Lawrence Neck. And so right here I conducted the analysis that is applicable to the site, which is Detroit metro area, and I've done every single month, and I extracted temperature as well as relative humidity for the area, and all of these have helped me with this idea of a design master plan intervention for the site. So it might not have directly fed into the site, but I had to understand the site sort of content in order to have an applicable design. This is the analysis of the existing site, sunshade study of the spring equinox during 12 noon. And as you guys can see right here, Southfield doesn't have many skyscrapers around. This is the summer solstice, and it shows also at 12 o'clock. This is the fall equinox at noon. And this is the winter solstice. Again, the site was modeled to have the trees, the building heights, as well as the river's path and the existing retention ponds already embedded in, updated through the pictures and the walk that I've taken in Lawrence Tech, including the new buildings. So I started another study. It's called a suitability study, and it indicates the cost of the area in which, if a developer or a designer wants to invest in. And so right here, it's based on buildings and roads. And this is using an urban modeling intelligence software plugin for Rhino, and it indicates right here the embodied energy throughout Southfield. Not much of the buildings actually use high energy levels, except for the two, except for the three buildings that are acting as a commercial in the commercial zone. And this is the operational energy, which shows also a different sort of outcome right here, as well as for the FAR, which is the floor to area ratio. Right here, this is the terrain analysis of the existing site. So this is, as you can see, Lawrence Tech, and that's the drop in elevation from red to yellow or green. And so the river right here, as you can see, is located at the deepest part of the site at 1 foot increment of topography. So there's at least a drop off 15 feet or less. The analysis of the building site, the analysis of the existing site, such as building height right here, indicates the height of the buildings using this legend in meters. So obviously right here, the tallest building is the two skyscrapers. And the analysis of the existing site storm water runoff right here indicates the whole site that I've selected and how much water runoff it actually produces versus how much air. So I had suggested BMP area to improve at least 3% of the 8,241,459 square feet. So 3% of that would be the solution for mitigating the stormwater runoff, the excess of the stormwater runoff. And so I begin with my design interventions, carried with this notion of a Lawrence Tech student and a nature lover. I wanted to introduce an infrastructural asset to improve the health of the water, as well as the recreational aspect of the site by having sidewalks as well as bridges right here, in order to provide accessibility and popularity to the Rouge River, to the students as well as Southfield. Right here is another view showing how the river can be incorporated with the bridge. And right here, I'm showing a design intervention for the ecological footprint, which pretty much shows the river in sync with the retention ponds. So the retention ponds right here is considered as a measure in order to aim in order to in order to collect the stormwater runoff from the degrading, in order to prevent the degrading of the stream channel, because the excessive water during the rain season pushes the water to be pretty much the river, to be pretty much like weak. And what I mean by weak, it will experience some shallowness to it, or overflow at some areas, and hence I'm trying to control the flood as well as the flow of the water during these seasons, as well as providing an appropriate environment for animals. Another intervention that I'm doing right here is a building of high performance. The building right here will be about a study lounge for the students, so they can experience the nature and its views. In here you can notice that the building is embedded with the site, and as well as connected to the pathway, and as well as to the other building located behind that tree, with that bridge that connects to the top of the building. And so this top of the building is becoming a platform for an outdoor study area, as well as the inside of the building is embedded into the ground and acting as a study lounge area. The design intervention right here is the other building, which is going to be the library for the students. The issue with this, the issue that I was trying to solve is how our library in Lawrence Tech is pretty much isolated from the world and its natural views because of its location. It's located 20, if not 30 feet underground, and so that has absolutely a psychological effect, as well as like a productivity effect on students. So providing them with views of nature and water and appropriate study areas can provide them with better efficiency and psychological states, especially for architecture students. And this is the analysis of the new proposed site and how the new retention ponds becomes, as you can see right here, they're introduced along the drop of the terrain. So as soon as the terrain steeps down to the river, I introduce these, let's call them the ring or the belt of the river, which pretty much comes even to 10 Mile, and it acts as a collector, as almost like a primary collector of the excess water before it reaches the river, and provides the river in this before it affects the river and its flow. And so here is a demonstration of what the elevation looks like. And so right here, all these ponds pretty much act as a surface area to collect water, and taking that into consideration, this total area covers way above 3% of the 8 million square feet that was mentioned earlier. And so right here, the presentation ends with this idea of how a simple introduction of a retention pond can elevate the river, and having it as an asset, as well as a meeting spot for students, as well as residents of Southwest. Thank you very much.